Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody?
Hello.
Morning.
Another Sunday Anabolic Bodybuilding Live on deck. What's new this week?
Oh, muted.
Dave, can't hear you, Dave. Well, looks like we lost Dave. I had some guys competing yesterday. I got a whole fleet of dudes competing at Masters Nationals this week. 7, 8 guys. Headed out to Masters National. That's I was laughing. There was some guys the other day. I forget who it was who put a post up. There was somebody put a post up about too many pro cards being out there, and they were like, they're handing it out to these guys at Masters. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about handing it out. There were 60 dudes in my division last year. There was no handing out going on. It was a stacked house. I think they had 1,100 competitors last year at Masters Nationals total.
Wow.
And it goes across five. Yeah, let's see, starts Tuesday, finishes Saturday. So it goes across five days.
Yeah, I don't think
Tina's going to be there too.
Competitors are. I don't think people realize how nasty Masters competitors are.
Yeah.
I don't realize how what the Masters bring to the table at shows. I mean, some of these women and men are just phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, the dude that won Universe, that won the Masters at Universe, looked better than the Open guy. It was one of AJ's guys. I'll have to pull him up. Nate Brand, I think's his name.
Yeah, he looked awesome.
Yeah, man, he was insane, and he was a Masters dude.
When I won the Masters Nationals back in 2008, that was the first year they announced they're going to do runner-up also in the overall. And I thought I was going to win my light heavyweight class. And I said to a bunch of my friends, I'm like, if I get runner-up in this, I'm not accepting my pro card. I'm going to the Nationals. I'd rather give my pro card up, not receive it. But unfortunately I won the overall. It was a cool night.
Yeah, I won the overall in my show last year too. This is the dude that won the Masters he looked crazy.
Yeah, he had quite a story. He had quite some setbacks in his life from what I read on him.
I don't know his story. I know AJ said he got battles.
Yeah. I think he was out of the game for a while.
That's the best when guys take a step away and then come back and get it. That's fantastic, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can say, this dude looked amazing.
Yeah, the great thing is that he actually looks like a pro.
Yeah, he does look like a pro. Yeah, that guy's got a great physique. It was one of AJ's guys. He picked up a few followers on Instagram. He didn't have that many the other day. Man, I had a guy yesterday compete at a local show, and Keon guest posed. God! Oh my God!
Yeah,
he got a picture with him, but yeah, let me see if he has a picture up. Yeah, here it is. Her video. This was from yesterday.
That's crazy.
How is that guy going to make it into 212?
Seriously.
What is it? 13 weeks out, the Olympia?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I wonder what his weight is right now.
Amazing physique.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got a crazy physique.
Yeah, I think he just freestyles a lot of his posing from what he claims, too.
Yeah, they were my guy that was there said he was super nice. He was like backstage hanging out all day long with all the competitors and stuff. That's super cool.
That's very cool.
Nice. What show is this?
It was in what's the name of the show? I can't remember. It was out in the Midwest somewhere.
Twin Cities Open?
Twin City, yeah, it was in Minneapolis.
Hmm.
Is he from Minnesota?
He's not even fat.
No, I mean, that's his water, but I mean, when he flexed, you saw lines in his glutes.
Mm. Well, I know he lives in Texas.
Oh, he lives in Texas. Yeah, I didn't know where he lives. He's got some diastasis going on, man. All the guys end up with it.
Yeah.
I need to make a video about that. I still think it's some of it has to do with the belts, like we talked about it. Anyway, dude looked fucking great. I mean, he's got a crazy physique.
Yeah. Blows your mind every time he does his check-ins. It's just you never get sick of it. I can't stop watching it.
I mean, I don't see anybody beating him at the Olympia.
No.
I just don't, man. I feel like I bring him up every week. This was 2 weeks ago. Oh, yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he looked fucking crazy there.
Wow.
This is what, Justin, my coach, he always says, like, people worry about shitty lighting on check-in pics. And he's like, Mr. Olympia looks like Mr. Olympia, even in shitty lighting. Doesn't matter. This guy looks like the 212 champ, even with the crappy lighting.
Funny.
Crazy how small that waist is.
Yeah, I mean, he's man. If I were him, I would give some serious consideration to moving to open. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the balance is there. Do you stay in the 212 and be the 212 Mr. Olympia, or do you go in the open and battle it out?
Well, I think it comes down to a point where if he can't hold his condition, trying to make the weight class,
right,
and that's the deciding factor. But you don't want to jeopardize looking, trying to look good and trying to get into the weight class, and then balancing it out with like, how do I fill back out? I think when it comes to that point, that's when he'll make the deciding factor.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't let himself just naturally grow out of the division. Be successful in the 212 as long as you can fit in it with good conditioning, like Vinny says, and having a good package. And once it's time that you can't fit in the division, move on.
I mean, that's kind of what Derek did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that worked out good for him.
Yeah, he made a little bit of money.
I'd say so.
Yeah, he got a $500,000 pay raise or whatever it was.
Well, I think the thing we've all learned, you never want to be in a rush to, for anything in this sport. Don't try to force anything. Let everything kind of come along a bit, So if he forces himself into the open, I don't see where the advantage comes from. Be successful in these 212s, pick up another championship at least, another Olympia.
I've had some guys like that, and this is something I talk to with guys on prep. Like, there are some guys that outgrow their class. Like I had a dude this year that just couldn't make it into Classic, and he was just like chasing that weight for Classic. I'm like, bro, you're a bodybuilder now. Just if you've got shredded glutes and you're 15 pounds over the Classic cap, it ain't happening, and not without sacrificing muscle. And it's so hard to gain that muscle. Why would you want to sacrifice that to squeeze into a class? I don't know. That's just kind of my take, but I guess to each their own. And then some people just look better. They look better in a certain class than they do in another.
Very true.
Yeah. I think that's like Urs. I mean, I feel like he has to force himself into Classic.
Mm. Yeah, he's another one gets huge in the off season.
Yeah. It feels like he really has to sacrifice some size to get in. And then you got the opposite end, like Wesley was saying, he's always under the cap. Keon's under the cap. Or not Keon, but Terrence is under the cap all the time, so there's guys. So, I mean, it's just like those dudes must have bird bones or something. They just like they look way bigger than what they did.
Vinny, when you turned pro, what weight class were you in?
I was a light heavyweight.
Light heavy?
Yeah. I did in the as an amateur, I won the Junior USA back in '92. So I go back a long way. And then I USA in '93 along with Cormier. He won the overall. And then I spent 10 years second to sixth place in the nationals, back and forth. Second, fourth, fifth, sixth, back and forth. 16 years to turn pro. And
holy shit.
Yeah. You talk about giving, like you said earlier, Paul, about people saying, "Oh, giving away pro cards." I won 4 titles and not even like on a radar of getting a pro card. It wasn't happening back then. And that's why, like, when I went to the Masters Nationals, two things happened. Truly was not going to accept the pro card if I became the runner-up. I wouldn't do it. I wasn't going to take a pro card that way. I had to go to the Nationals because here in New Jersey, New York area, everybody was gunning for the Nationals. It was like a pride thing. You got to win the Nationals if you're a dog. And when I got my pro card that night, Steve Weinberger said to me, "What's your first pro show you're going to do?" And it just didn't register. I'm like, "No, Steve, I'm doing the Nationals in November." He's like, "No, Vin, you just got your pro card." I'm like, "What?" Like it was happening so fast.
Yeah, it's a surreal experience.
Yeah, but you're going after the national champ, the Nationals, all those years, and then you get your pro card another way. I'll be the first to admit, I was 40 years old. About 2 years after that, because I thought, and I'm not even exaggerating, I really, literally, legit had depression because I thought my peers are thinking less of me because I got my pro card at the Masters Nationals. Until I ran into Dexter Jackson and we were talking, and he said, "Vinny, it doesn't matter how you get your pro card. It only matters what you do with it." And that's like saving grace for me. But then I got hurt and I tore both my shoulders. I have 9 anchors in this shoulder and I've got 5 in this shoulder, and it set me back a few years. I'm in Paul's situation, and I didn't get back in the game for a while. And now here I am, 11 Masters Pro wins in and 4 weeks out from the Masters Olympia. So, going back to saying rushing it, right? Like at 40, 41, I was thinking, I have no time left. This is it. I'm done. Now I'm 58 and I'm still plugging away. So we only get better as we get older.
Yeah, Sean Roden won his pro card at Masters Nationals, and dude won the Olympia, in his 40s. So
North American.
No, he won at Masters Nationals.
Oh,
yeah, I believe so.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. So there's been guys that have done it. Maybe it was in the Masters division at North Americans. I know he won it as a Masters.
Cool.
I have to look that up now. Yeah, there's been a couple.
I don't see the difference. If you win it and you win your pro card, it's in the Masters. It's really no different. You can only compete against those that are in front of you, that are in your class. I never understood that argument that as if it's lesser or easier or whatever the argument is.
No, he won at Nationals in the Masters division. Okay, I'm wrong. But it was Masters win.
That's the thinking today. But you go back to the 90s and there was no Masters, it was a different mind game, different ball game.
Right.
But today, yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, it's no easy feat.
Yeah, I think pretty sure Kamal Argani.
Yep.
Elgarni, I'm probably slaughtering his name. He won his pro card as a Masters, and then he won the 212. He was like almost 50 years old when he won the 212, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, 47. That's fucking crazy. He won the Arnold Classic at 47.
He looked like 27 when he was 40.
Yeah, that dude's. Is he doing the Masters Olympia?
his name's on a list, but it's not. I mean, the list isn't confirmed that that's the final list yet. But there's two lists for each division. The guys who are already qualified from winning the top 5 from the last one, and guys like myself who've won shows over the last 2 years, and then the ones that are invited. So you got 2 sets of people. And now the final list comes out, I guess maybe a week before the Masters Olympia. We'll show who's really going.
Soon. It's like a month out, right, Vinny? It's early August.
4 weeks, August 9th. I leave in 3 weeks, so I'm leaving on so I can get acclimated to the time zone, time change, and everything.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and piggyback it with some vacation time there afterward?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to be there 2 weeks. I got family coming to support me, and then Sunday morning, we bullet train, and we're getting out of Dodge and going to go all around Tokyo, all around Japan, and just try and have fun.
That's awesome, man. What a cool trip. Yeah. Just go have fun, compete, and then eat some food and see the sights afterwards.
Yeah.
Japan is on my bucket list. That's a place I definitely want to hit.
I've been fortunate too, because I met this guy, Yoshi, who I think I'm pronouncing his name, Toshi or Yoshi. He is a business guy from Tokyo, who trains with Hide when he's doing business in Las Vegas, and now I'm training him when he's in New Jersey. And he's been hooking me up on where to get my food, like, you know, nice. What's the distance from my Airbnb to own the grocery store, where the gyms are, you know, and all that stuff. So he's making life a lot easier for me, moving forward, and just having a nice navigation and not having to, you know, get off the plane and take a guessing game on where I got to go.
Oh, that's awesome. That's like insider info right there. That's great.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I got some pretty good people in my corner this year, and I'm happy about that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, the Masters Olympia, that's exciting, man. What a cool experience.
Yeah, if I could walk away with a top 10, I'll be a happy camper. And I think I'm coming to an end in my career as competing. I won't stop competing and look like a bodybuilder, but I think you got to know when to stop and, you know, move on, because the body is not, my body right now is holding up pretty good, but I think it's like, you know, how much more do I want to beat shit out of myself? And, you know, I'm doing things I've never done before for a show. Like, you guys are going to laugh, but I've never done fasted cardio in my life. And now I'm doing it, and I'm doing double session cardio just to get, you know, the look that I need to be competitive. And I knew last year going into the Hurricane Pro, something was off, and I just couldn't pinpoint it. And I'm doing everything I always do, but there's just something missing. And then after I looked at all the pictures afterwards, and, you know, I was like, I need more cardio. How am I going to do this? What do I got to do? And so I just, you know, put it all together and said, I got to suck it up and do some fasted cardio. And I started implementing it like 10 minutes twice a week, then 20 minutes, and just getting my body used to it. Because I don't know, Paul, if you know this, I have Epstein-Barr.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I battle with that with my immune system all the time. So I have to have a balancing act of pushing my body and then giving it enough to not be on a verge of like literally collapsing. So when I have a bout of Epstein-Barr, I don't get off the couch for 2 or 3 days, and I'm a mess. So I have to have like a good training program, and so knock on wood right now, everything's going good. And, you know, I think it was like Wednesday of last week, I knew, or I felt it coming on. I felt something coming on. I was just exhausted. And I'm like, that's it. I'm shutting it down for Thursday and Friday. I'm not going to train. And yesterday I trained and had a great workout, and I felt great. So I got to balance it out.
Yeah, that's wild that you're doing that with an autoimmune issue.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this real quick. I found out like there's a connection. I had mono as a kid, and years later, around late 30s, I had what do you call it? My whole face paralyzed.
Bell's palsy.
Bell's palsy. Yeah.
Bell's palsy twice, and trying to figure all this out. Like, what the hell's going on with me? And yeah, so it's all autoimmune related. And then I found out it all stems from the gut, and trying to get better nutrition in and having more organic food, and it's we can go down a slippery spiral of just going into other areas of nutrition too. So yeah, so it's been a balancing act, and it sucks, but been doing it.
Yeah, I'm always battling with my body. I had I know that feeling, man. I had I have chronic Lyme's disease. I had it for years before I got diagnosed, and it's just joints and everything's inflamed. Sometimes I go through these flare-ups, but yeah, I feel you on that one, man. This is what I think a lesson a lot of people don't get is that it's never perfect, man. It's like people think there's this linear path upward when you're doing stuff. There's gonna be all sorts of obstacles and shit that gets in the way, and you just figure out how to work around it and do your best and come up with a game plan where you can just minimize the effects of this negative stuff that happens and just work around shit. I mean, there's it, man. You've overcome injuries, you've dealt with this. I mean, you just work around shit and keep going.
I think all of us don't know the way to do it that way.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of young guys could hear and learn from.
Yeah, learning patience.
Yeah, I get it. I coach a handful. Most of my clients are masters competitors, but I do have some younger guys, and they I got a kid right now who's dealing with a bunch of injuries, and gets very frustrated. It's just frustrating. If you've never dealt with injuries and your mortality before, and I remember I trained my balls off, and then in my early 30s, I just started getting hurt all the damn time. And I was like, I couldn't keep a 6-week string of training together where I wasn't getting hurt and had to pull back. And I'm like, fuck, maybe I'm just not made for this anymore. And that's a hard thing for a young person to learn, is you just you figure out how to work around it and overcome things. And you definitely, I mean, Vinny and I talked about it on the interview we did, but you gotta kind of, the plan doesn't always go the way you expect it. You kind of have to improvise and just, the way I look at it, every workout is another workout in the books, even if it's kind of a shitty.
True.
And then, knowing what your body can and can't do and working within those parameters. If I see dudes that try to push through it too, like they, and I've seen this with a couple of older guys, and they just end up hurting themselves and making things worse. And if you are banging yourself up to the point where you can't train, then you're not going to progress. So you have to find that fine line.
I've seen with a lot of the younger guys that I coach, that are just starting out. Sometimes I got to let them kind of like learn the lessons the hard way still themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I was a dunderhead like that.
But that's kind of how you truly learn too. Like, I mean, even though I'm there to advise them and try to teach them and explain and try to show them certain tactics, sometimes, like, give you an example, recovery aspects, they just go and run themselves into the ground, even though you try to teach them how to take a step back. So that way we can have a good 8-week block, a good 6-week training block ahead of us. You need to have that step back. And sometimes you got to find yourself just letting them learn the hard way, so they actually know what it feels like. It's kind of like we always talk about, you can't understand like failure in training if you haven't been there. So you don't really understand, maybe not overtraining, but the need for recovery aspects, or like not pushing an injury until you've made that mistake. So I think sometimes that's important, learning the hard way yourself.
Here's Vinny right now.
That was yesterday.
How you feeling at 4 weeks out?
I feel fine. I don't know. Like, it's funny. People are saying, how do you feel? Expecting me to say I feel like shit, or I feel whatever. I don't know. I feel fine. I'm eating a lot of food. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm locked in, man. I'm like I don't want to say a machine, but I'm locked in, and I'm just doing what I got to do. And I think the biggest thing for me right now is I'm doing everything regardless of what the outcome is going to be. And that's a big thing, because a lot of, you know, you step on stage and you always want to win, right? We always want to win. But when you go into a show like the Masters Olympia or any Olympia stage, you don't know what the outcome is going to be, because you got guys who are just freaks going in. And so giving it 1,000%. And I do care about the outcome, but I'm training without thinking of what if it just doesn't work out. You know, I'm just having a positive mindset. The workouts are good, great, and doing what I got to do.
This is wild. 1993. Yeah, you've been at it a long
footage. That's really good camera footage from 93.
That was from so back then that was aired a lot on ESPN's American Sports Network.
Yeah, I remember.
I was freaking lucky back then. They picked me up, and I was on ESPN like every week for like 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you they got you some clients.
Not back then. Well, I mean,
really?
No, you know it's funny. Like wherever you live, people go to another coach that lives a lot further away because they think they know more, right? So I was getting a lot of clients from regular old-fashioned mail. That I'd get letters in the mail to have, you know, train them, and it was way different. I get Polaroids from people. It was so different. Like, you know, think about, like, you know, we have social media today. Nah, I just got people reaching out to me from a letter in the mail. There was no email back then. You know, that's how fucking old I am.
Gotta look at these old videos of you. You would have made a great classic guy.
Yeah.
You know, in this little clip right here, when I heard myself talking, I'm like, that's not even my voice anymore. I'm like, who is that?
You still had that shoulder vein though, like that. You still got that in the picture from yesterday.
That's wild. Yeah, my voice has changed. It's gotten deeper.
How much the picture you put up of me from yesterday? How much you guys think I weigh?
How tall are you?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'6.5".
180.
Oh man, that's all, Paul. Come on.
190.
I was gonna say 230.
230.
I'm gonna say like 208, 207.
Yesterday.
How much?
195.
195. I was way off. I don't know. I'm terrible with weight.
All right.
And you're 5'6". Shit, you probably wouldn't even make classic then.
No, I tried last year. I tried. I couldn't. It's just so difficult.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. What is your classic cutoff?
Not sure, but I did it last year. It was I suffered to get into the weight class. It wasn't even like I did, like, you know, the last minute I stopped drinking water just to make the weight class, and then everything backfired on me. I did that in the Daytona Pro.
Yeah, that's not great.
I did it because I wanted to see if I could do it, and like the day out, I was like still 5 pounds over, and I'm gonna just go for it. I'm gonna see if I could do it. I'm gonna see if I could hold on to it, and it was one of those things. You have to do it to know you can't do it. And I got it out of my system, and I'm like, I'll never try to do that again.
I'm looking to see what the IFB. Let's see, IFBB. You said 5'5".
I'm 5'6.5".
5'6.5". So it's one. Let's see here, 187.
I never make 187. I think the lowest I can get to is 192, and then
192. Okay.
Then I'll like start looking like an Ethiopian.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like certain guys, they flatten out. So that's when you know you're just a bodybuilder. Like that's the same thing I had to tell this kid I was coaching. I'm like, dude, you're just gonna look worse if you keep pushing down. But your class sort of finds you sometimes.
Yeah, and I think you know, fans don't understand that classic 212. At the end of the day, it's bodybuilding. What we do what those guys do in the gym is to improve. And when you improve, you're gonna put tissue on, you're gonna put muscle on, and then, like, you know, like when they announced, when Cbum announced retiring from Classic, I was telling guys in the gym, I said, read between the lines. He's retiring from Classic. He's not walking away from the sport yet. He's going to compete in the Open. And now that, they're talking about him competing in the Open, making a comeback, if you will. It's not a comeback. The guy knew that he can't be a Classic competitor anymore, only because of a weight class. He's still going to be a Classic competitor. His physique's not going to change. He's going to be just 5 or 10 pounds heavier, so he doesn't have to suck down. And, you're going to see that with Keon, and you're going to see that with other guys. And like what Derek did, you can't make the weight class anymore. You got to move up. There's no choice.
Yeah, I remember, what was it? I heard somebody saying that Bumstead was like 15 pounds over the cap, like a week and a half out. I had to do some crazy shit to get him in.
And then it's just, you're like, what's the point? Now you're miserable.
Yeah.
And it's not enjoyable anymore. And you're not going on stage feeling very confident, because you're kind of questioning yourself. These other guys look better than me. Do they not? Or, and I think it's time to, refocus with a new path.
Yeah. I mean, I think he would look, he proved last year. What was the show he did? Was it the Prague?
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked great in the Open.
Oh, he looked phenomenal. And he's a great poser. That posing routine he did was just superb. I just love. I think he picked an 80s hairband music from Canada, and it kind of gave me like hope, because I'm always searching for good music to pose to. And then here's Cbum posing to this old school long-haired white boy music from Canada. And all right, that's the kind of music I love. So it was a great routine.
He's an excellent poser. He just does such a good job of presenting his physique. And then he has some injuries too. Like I think he has a torn quad and a torn bicep, and he hides it really well when he poses. You can see his torn quad, but he like flares his one leg out in a different angle than the other, so you don't really notice it. Yeah, he's a very clever poser. He's really, 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 really good. I point people to him when I, correcting posing issues. But dude's a great. Terrence is too. Terrence Ruffin. I think he's the best. But
guys like Lee Haney, watching him, and Lee Labrada, and Gaspari, Cbum reminds me of those guys' mindset.
Yeah,
Messy, respectable guy, family oriented, different breed. And he just sets himself apart.
Yeah, he seems like a quality human being from what I can tell. I've run into some jerks in bodybuilding, but for the most part, most of the people I run into are usually pretty solid people.
Especially when they're not on trend.
When they're not on trend, yeah, it's trend is what makes people insane.
Or halo testing.
Or halo testing. Speaking from experience, Mike.
Yeah, actually, clenbuterol is worse for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, I've literally thrown a 45-pound weight across the gym on clenbuterol.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me to start at the bottom dose. So
I don't even
200 micrograms going nuts in the gym and not knowing why.
Oh,
that's a lot, man.
Yeah, that's.
I never
for a reason.
Yeah, I almost went to the ER. Yeah, it was terrible.
I never run more than 60 or 80. I really don't use many fat burners on prep myself.
Yeah, this prep,
Mike, you took 200 micrograms on your first dose of Clen.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, and aggro was not something I expected to get.
Well, that's a lot of beta 2 stimulation, man. You're
I'm surprised you weren't shaking so much that you weren't you were actually able to throw something.
Yeah, I was, and the whole gym wanted to kill me, so I was going to kill one of them first.
I just kept it simple in my prep last year. It was test, primo, and masked all the way in until the end, and then just ran some Winstraw, nothing crazy.
Well, at Helios, I got up to 260 micrograms in the injectable format, and I never had any problems. None of the CNS side effects that I usually get. Like I've never been able to take really more than 20 without it wrecking my CNS. So
the Helios is so much better.
Yeah.
It's much smoother than run a regular Clen and Johanbine. It doesn't make you feel all weird and sick and awful.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think
So-
that's also albuterol, right? So that's kind of out of your system by midday if you take it in the morning, right?
No,
Helios-
not much with albuterol.
Helios is Clen.
Helios. Okay, I thought that was albuterol.
No,
There's
it's
one of
Clen.
those that are got albuterol instead of I don't know if it's like the Lipo C or whatever that. I don't know.
No, Helios is Clen and yohimbine injectable. Sometimes you'll see L-carnitine in it, but usually it's Clen and yohimbine. So it's like 40 micrograms of Clen and like 5 milligrams of yohimbine injectable.
Oh,
And then you don't. What's that?
The C word.
Yeah. Then usually you don't get all the side effects, at least of what I've seen from it, like the gastrointestinal. Like yohimbine makes me feel like I'm going to throw up. I just can't do it. We want to get some questions in, see what people.
Yeah, we have some really good ones. Yeah, we have some
let's
couple
do
that
it.
people actually paid for too. We got just this one came with nothing, so thank you, Anthony. But
Thank
then he
you.
did follow it up with what brand of microphone does Amy use? Is it because it sounds terrible? Can you guys hear me?
Sounds good.
Dave and Amy use the same one.
Yeah, it's the Logitech, right, Dave? Is that what this is?
Mine's HyperX.
Yeah, it's Logitech HyperX
Yeah.
Cloud.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like
And
the
I figured out
quality.
why no one could hear me a couple weeks ago. There's a volume button on the bottom that I had turned all the way down. So
Yeah, I think
That makes a difference.
pickup or something. The pickup meter.
yeah. Yeah. And then we got this one from Anzi Francisco. If Vinny is guest posing at the New Jersey State Championships August 16th, which I don't think he will because he'll be in Japan, will he have a booth or anything? Glad to hear his story.
I get back on Thursday the 14th, and I guest posed there. Yeah, I am.
Oh, no, so you'll be back in time.
Yeah, I spoke to two of the local companies to have me sit at the booth at one of their booths. So yeah, most likely you'll see me at a booth. I'll bring some pictures to sign and hopefully meet you guys.
Awesome.
No.
Dave, I think you actually answered this one in the comments, but it was from Mark's asking if you knew of a posing coach in the South Coast, Massachusetts area.
Yeah, I mean, the best that I can really tell you is Gym Hub in Boston area, which is a little bit of a ride. They do a lot of seminars where it's actually the judges, from our area. John Randall and Jose Raymond, they do a lot of different seminars, maybe monthly. So I check in there. That's pretty good because at least you get the feedback from the judges of what they want to see and get some hands-on with you as well. So that's an option.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So we did have one specifically for Vinny. So this was from Rise 41. I'd love to hear his take on how to fine-tune training volume and intensity as an older athlete. What are the cues you listen to?
Man, I do things completely different right now at the age of 58. I look at my warm up as broken down a couple of different ways. I warm the body up by getting on the treadmill or the bike for 5 or 10 minutes just to get circulation. That's one kind of warm up. Then whatever body part I'm training, I will focus on one exercise, very light, and it depends on the day. Sometimes it's a 5 rep range, but sometimes it's a 20 rep range. It all depends on what I'm feeling at that particular moment. So I'll give you an example like yesterday. No, I'll give you a better example. Like last week, I said earlier, I knew on Wednesday I did legs, and I have my own protocol that I do with little light stretching in between the warming up, and nothing was happening. I was going to actually walk out of the gym and go home because it just didn't seem like a smart thing to do today. It seemed like I should go home, not even train. And I know I'm not sure if you guys ever experienced trying to warm up and it's not working out and you start getting a little frustrated and you're like, this sucks today. So what I did, I walked back. I took a walk for 2 minutes. I came back, I regrouped, came back in, and the Smith machine was waiting for me. And put a quarter on each side, and I did a set of 30 really slow. And now I felt like, all right, I'm getting warmed up again the way I should. So my approach is I don't train until I'm warmed up. And that warm up could be 10 minutes. That warm up could be 30 minutes. I'm not rushing it. I've been set back. I've had injuries, and I don't want to be on the sideline. So I really think that anybody who's been training 20, 30 years needs to respect the warm up. And a lot of people think, oh, 3 sets of leg extensions, 3 sets of leg curls, I'm warmed up. You ain't even fucking close. If you came and trained with me, you're doing like 20 minutes of leg extensions and leg curls to really warm up. You would actually think like we're training, and we're not even close to training yet. I didn't experience good warm-ups until I started to talk to, just before he passed away, was Charles Poliquin out of Canada. And I got a chance to train with him, work out with him. And when he, and if you guys don't know who Charles Poliquin is, you should research him and read a lot of his stuff. And every warm-up for me, every time it's completely different. Are there days when I warm up very short? Yeah, absolutely. It happens. Those are great days, and then there's days where it's really long, and you have to suck it up and do it. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I definitely disrespect the warm up. It's probably why I'm hurt all the time. I need to get so much. Like after we talked, Vinny, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, God damn, man, I'm terrible at this. I got to be so much better. That's one thing this injury has forced me to do, is reevaluate that. I used to just go in the gym and just do 2 sets, and I was going. That's a recipe for getting hurt at our age.
Yeah. If I never tore both my rotator cuffs, I don't think we would have this conversation right now, or would I have had the success I'm having in the Masters division. I don't know if I would be doing it. I'd still be a meathead and just blasting away in a gym. But maybe just touch a little bit more on that question. I realized with the volume intensity, there's some days where you have a plan, and that gets sidetracked because all of a sudden now you're in 16 to 20 sets of training, and it's a great workout. And then there's some days where I'm having only 9 sets of training, and it's a great workout. So I don't get married to the idea of intensity, volume. I get more into how it feels and knowing when to stop the workout.
Right. Now, when you're in a set, are you like a logbook guy where you're trying to look for a number that you're beating from last week, or you go off a feel at this point, just kind of like reaching that 1 rep in reserve or some mark in reserve that you're trying to aim for?
There's 2 things I've never done in my career. I've never counted a calorie in my life, and I've never written a workout app on a piece of paper. I'm all about feel, and I'm all about engorging the muscle with a lot of blood. I'm all about training, not moving weight. And I think there's a big difference about that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every older, more mature, advanced bodybuilder you talk to says the exact same thing. I think young guys all the time get confused and think they're power lifters.
Yeah.
It's there's a big difference between lifting weights and training for strength. There's a huge difference.
Yeah. And I think I train I'm a powerhouse gym in Saddlebrook, New Jersey, and have my clients that are with me all week long, and they've been with me years. And then I have stragglers that come in because they'll have conversations with other people and go, when I look at Vinny train, it doesn't seem that hard. And then they train with me, and they're not screaming, they're not blasting weight. But then 3 days later, they're telling me, dude, I couldn't even get off the toilet bowl. That hurt.
I have the same thing with people. I overheard, this was funny last year when I was training for my show, and I heard a couple young guys near me overheard them talking, and they're like, bro, I don't understand. Like, he's not that strong. How he looks like that. I'm like, it's because I'm not training for strength, man. I'm a bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody comment on one of my training videos the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, you need to look at Mike Mentzer and like couple 3 examples that he left and said, you know, you need to train more like them." Okay.
Yeah, not right now. Maybe when you're in your 20s, and that's just kind of how you gravitate towards training.
Well, that's kind of how I responded. I'm like, yeah, those guys are epic, man, and they had it. You know, there's a season for everything.
Yeah.
And not for a 53-year-old guy who's just trying to lift weights until he dies.
Go from Powerhouse. She wanted to train legs with me. I'm like, are you sure? Are you know, you could train with me, that'd be great. And it turned out she was stronger than me, and she was 23 years old.
That's awesome.
With her.
Yeah. Well, and it's great to be able to train intuitively. And if I let myself go, like I'm pretty good at training intuitively. Like I know kind of when to push it and when to ease up. But you know what gets measured gets managed, and I always feel like at least I'm measuring my progress when I write it down in a training book. And I'm getting ready to switch to the RP app. I'm kind of connected with those guys, and there may or may not be some sort of partnership coming up, but you know, I'm going to go back to pushing the logbook again. I actually stopped in the first contest prep earlier this year because I was in a spot where I just needed to not injure myself, and I can't be looking at the logbook every week and not wanting to crush it. You know, like I got to do better. If the logbook's out, I got to do better. If not, I'm just going to put the thing away and not let the logbook get in my head.
Yeah, I stopped logging my stuff a couple of years ago. I used to be obsessed with it, and then I started training more by feel. I do follow a framework, that the RP style framework. I mean, I train similarly, but mostly my workouts are moderate to higher volume, more, you know, just making sure I feel the muscle and getting an effective workout. I think that's another thing too that gets lost on a lot of young trainers, the young guys in the gym, is they get so obsessed with moving the weight that they forget that you need to feel the muscle that you're actually trying to work. And I've seen that a lot of times when guys have lagging body parts, and then I ask them, I'm like, you know, close your eyes when you're training and ask yourself, am I really feeling it in the muscle that I'm trying to work? And a lot of times I'll find that the dudes that have lagging body parts, it's not a problem with not enough volume or not moving enough weight. They're just not activating the muscle that they're trying to work. They're not getting any activation in that area. I had the same thing going on with me with back. I realized after years and years of doing heavy barbell rows, I was essentially doing shrugs. I had giant traps, no lower lats. And I realized, you know, I had an exercise physiologist pointed out to me that I didn't feel it in my back at all. It was more of a trap exercise. Yeah. So, you know, it took me 20 years to fucking figure that out.
Yeah. I mean, I can relate too, because I got to the point where I had to redo a lot of my back training and just relearning it from the bottom up, because for the longest time, I tried to bring my back up, add volume, add frequency, add a couple different tactics, train it harder, train it heavier. And I just ended up training my arms. I wasn't truly connecting. And I can honestly say I wasn't connecting to my back. You know, now I'm getting progression because I'm able to find ways to take my biceps out of the pulling motions, you know, to a point. So I think learning feels huge. Yeah.
What were you going to say, Vinny?
Oh, yeah. I got a question for you guys. So my back double bicep is probably my weakest in terms of, you know, mandatory poses. And with 4 weeks to go, I was trying to think of like, what can I do to really hit my back? Do you guys recommend giant sets or splitting the back up in 2 parts, like lats one workout and rowing the next?
I split mine up in 2 workouts. I do a vertical pulling rowing workout and then a horizontal pulling pull downs. I find that it's more effective that way. I mean, my God, how many muscles are there in the back? There's 30 couple, right? I can't remember, but yeah, somebody was telling me one time, and like, you try to do everything from one angle, you're not going to get it. I also had a IFBB judge tell me one time, and I never really thought about it this way, that rear double bicep is a back pose. It's not a bicep pose. You're showing off your back development. And I think a lot of times I had to really work on my rear double bicep last year. And it wasn't so much a development issue. It was like that I just wasn't getting my lats to spread. And I was holding my arms up too high, making myself look smaller. There was just a bunch of little things that was wrong with my posing that I needed to fix. It wasn't really even a development issue. It was that pose is just super fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to really crank your arms back. You got to keep it's almost like you're doing a lat spread with your biceps up.
Right.
I just got the opportunity to pose with a pro just now before I left Powerhouse Gym. Laconia Seymour, he's a classic physique guy. He's getting ready to do a qualifier show, and he's hoping to get to the Masters Olympia too. It was pretty cool because he didn't have a lot to tell me, right? I've been working with a couple of guys who've had a lot to tell me, and he's like, no, that's it. That's a great pose. Oh, that's your best pose. And there was a couple of things that he had for me on that double. And he said the same thing that everybody has said to me so far. There's something going on with your right delt. Your scapula's not coming apart. There's something hanging it up there. And it has nothing to do with muscle development and everything to do with how I'm able to position it and present it.
Yeah, I had something going on, and it was a torn bicep tendon.
Yeah. Well, and that is the shoulder that I have to have the MRI done.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, that was my problem.
Yeah. But hey, to answer Vinny's question a little bit, you know what I just figured out, Vinny, and I feel like a fool for it taking 20 years, is what they mean by pulling into the hip on any lat exercise, and that means a horizontal pull as well as a vertical pull. And I've been able to sort of like really tap into the feeling I want from this, doing like a single arm cable pull. Whether I do that from straight from like hip height back, usually with a bench in front of me, an incline bench in front of me that I can reach and pull from, or whether it's down from a cable pull down, just a single, and then pull, but then actually pulling into my hip and feeling where the lat actually bottoms out. You're no longer training the lat, because for years what happens is I do a movement like that, I go right past where the lat's engaged, and I'm engaging the rhomboids and everything behind it, right? And not engaging that lat. And my lats have been way more sore and way more pumped since I figured this out earlier this year. And I really feel like it's going to help me improve the size of my lats.
So when
this offseason.
At a certain spot just to keep the contraction on the lat.
Yeah, so I stop in the stretch position. I feel that stretch position. I'm just going to use a downward example because it's easy to do on this video screen. And when I pull down, everybody says pull into the hip, right? It's like cliche. But what does that mean really? So I'm pulling my elbow to my hip, but where does that lat engagement end? Where am I squeezing the bottom of that lat? Because it's not back here like everybody, like I've always done them. It's down here.
Right.
With my elbow.
Yeah.
With my elbow right into my, and night and day, man, sore in ways and that I haven't been sore. You can watch on some of my workout videos too. I don't know if you follow any of my stuff on YouTube, but it's a game changer.
Do you have anything to say about back training?
Yeah, what I was going to mention is I don't know if you do this already, but on your back days, if you incorporate biceps, like say you do biceps and you do some back work on the same day, like a basic pull session, it could sound very simple, but just doing your biceps first in the training day, earlier in the workout, and then getting a big back pump, and let your intracarbs fill up that back, and just walk out with as much saturation in the back as possible. Because I see some guys do like their biceps because it's easier after their back training, and they're stealing all that nutrient rich blood from their back, putting them in their biceps, and they're walking out with a bicep pump. You know, I'd feel like you could fill up your back just over time a little bit more and get a little bit more, you know, growth or a little bit of a fuller look is what I've tried to get some guys to do later on as we get closer to a show. So I don't know if you do biceps as well with your pull session, but maybe put those as simply just for first.
Yeah, I do back. I mean, I do biceps after back.
Yeah. Might be worth giving it a try, seeing how you feel. If you walk out a little bit more pumped and a little fuller, and that continues to stay that way, you might get a little more details. One possibility, but it's worth a shot.
Or two.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks for the tips, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, listen, I got to get off now. I got a family thing to go to in a little bit.
All right, Vinny, thank you for being on.
And I'll be
Hi,
back.
Vinny.
Vinny, nice to online meet you.
Yeah, good meeting you, man.
Right on, brother.
All right, what do we got up next, Amy?
We have a two-parter that I actually think, Paul, you'd be a perfect person to answer. So I'll read both parts. This is from Ryan Parsons. Took an 8-year break from lifting and being a total meathead. Vinny's inspired him to get back into bodybuilding. That said, I still stay committed to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm preparing for Masters Worlds. What lift should I focus on to complement the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training?
I did jujitsu for years. Bodybuilding and jujitsu do not mix well. I'll just say that, man. You need to be mobile for jujitsu. Like you need. I would say. I mean, certainly strength is going to help. I would just do kind of a regular push pull legs routine. I've thought about this because I would like to go back and pursue my black belt at some point. I trained jiu-jitsu for 5 years, but I would definitely want to downsize if I got back into jiu-jitsu, be more mobile, be more flexible. Probably would do some yoga, to be honest with you, to have more mobility. Now, with that said, if you're big, strong, and flexible, you're going to be a terror on the mat. That's, somebody like Brock Lesnar. I mean, look at that dude, man.
Yeah.
Who the fuck would want to go up against that freak? I remember the black belt when I was in jiu-jitsu, he always would say size doesn't matter until it does. And so, and I thought that was the greatest, because people, some of the regular jiu-jitsu people used to always say size doesn't matter if you have technique. And he was like, at
some point it matters.
Yeah, at some point it matters. Like, it doesn't matter how much technique you know if you're going up against half Thor Bjornsson. I don't think you could be the most skilled fighter in the world and you're probably going to lose.
Right.
So that fight that they did with Hapthor and what's his name, the powerlifter guy, strongman guy.
Was it Eddie Hall?
Eddie Hall. Did anybody watch that?
Oh
yeah, Eddie Hall got his ass handed to him. You could just tell it came down to who trained hardest, but it was not. Let's put it this way: it's not an entertaining fight to watch two giant guys sling each other.
they gas out quick,
yeah,
and they don't move very well.
And I too was a BJJ guy, and I'll tell you what: if I decided I wanted to get back into martial arts, I would first things first. I would lose 20 pounds, and I would do probably a good 6 months of just functional training and maybe even some yoga just to get that flexibility and mobility back.
I was pretty flexible when I was doing jiu-jitsu, even though I was fat.
Yeah.
I could sit on my knees and lay all the way back down flat. I mean, I could, do a split, all kinds of shit. And now I probably would tear something if I tried any of that.
I'd be in the chiropractor's office for a week.
Yeah. Well, talk about two sports that require like 100% dedication towards the goal. Like trying to do bodybuilding and jiu-jitsu is pretty tough. We have a jiu-jitsu gym right next to my gym I train at, and I've had a handful of clients that try to do both, and it's just a recipe. Every one of them have gotten injured, no matter what we try to do. Well, it's really tough because if you want to be good at one or the other, you really got to give it your everything in bodybuilding as well as jiu-jitsu. And I grew up wrestling, and I couldn't imagine mixing wrestling and bodybuilding,
Yeah, I mean, anybody who becomes great at anything specializes. You have to. I mean, you can't train for soccer and be a great football player.
Yeah.
And there's some dojos, if you walk in carrying the kind of muscle mass, they laugh. I know they laugh out loud. They're like, okay. We get the coolest guy first.
Well, the other thing too, think of conditioning, like actual cardiovascular output. Like, how are you going to put on size with the amount of conditioning you're going to do in jiu-jitsu, you know, for the eating requirements? Like, it's just so contradictory. So, not saying you can't make, to answer his question, like Mike probably said it best, a lot of flexibility and being mobility and functional should be your focus in my mind.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
Ryan says he's 6 feet 225. I would say that's perfect, probably even on the top end of where I would want to be size wise. I mean, I'm 6'1". I probably would want to be in the 220, 225 range if I were going to be seriously back into jiu-jitsu.
Ryan, keep us updated, dude, because I'd be curious to see how you do, like carrying that much muscle mass and doing a lot of strength training, but also while you're still pursuing BJJ, if you can manage to stay flexible enough to be effective at it.
I'll say this: the dudes that I was on the mats with, the ones that I was least eager to roll with, were always the skinny guys.
165-pound, 5'9" dude is you don't want to roll with that.
Yeah, it's like a spider monkey climbing on your back, choking you out, twisting your arm up into a knot. We had this black belt at my school. He was a computer programmer, and he was super quiet, super shy. His name, we all called him Little Ben, and that dude was an assassin on the mat. I remember like whatever was going on at work, he kept it bottled up and took it out at jiu-jitsu because he was just like super quiet, super shy, kind of, you know, short, not athletic at all, like skinny fat kind of guy. And you get him on the mat, and he was just a fucking tactician, would just destroy you.
Yeah, I was at a pretty good spot where we had a few guys like that, but they would come at you with like 70% and let you have a fun time too, you know.
I can even give you one quick little story though. Like about a handful of years ago, Jackie and I were at a friend's party, and one of our friends, he had said that Jackie said that she could kick his ass. Anyhow, he goes, well, bring it anytime. So they literally were like going to wrestle each other. And this guy's 6'1", 200, probably 20-pound guy. She literally climbed up him, like you said, like a spider monkey on the back, completely rear naked choked this grown man to the ground. Literally completely submitted. You saw the look on his face. He's all red in the face. And it was 3 seconds she had him on the ground. But it looked like a spider monkey, just crawled right up him like a tree.
Yeah, I'd take a watch that.
It was good.
I would subscribe.
Yeah, I wish I got it on film.
I wouldn't want to fight Jackie.
Yeah, Ryan says we grind at my place. We're not a belt factory. A lot of folks don't last with us. Yeah, that's the way it was where I went, man. I was there for 5 years, and I was a 4-stripe blue belt. That tells you anything. I went 3 days a week for 5 years straight. only got the 4-stripe blue belt, man. They did not hand out black belt. The guy that ran my academy was an old school Brazilian dude. Came up to the U.S. in the early 90s with the Gracies. Yeah, they did not give out. It's funny, like I remember, like some places it's like you get 500 hours on the mat, and then you test for the next belt. The 500 hours on the mat is like the minimum requirement. 500 classes for the next belt advancement. It's like, all right, well, we'll let you know when you're ready. You know, not
5-minute rounds at a time.
Yeah. So I think it was you got a stripe for each 100 hours on the mat. Is the way it worked. Were you with Diego? No. Pedro Sauer is who I was with. Yeah, they didn't fuck around there. I was a nobody there, man. Very mediocre jiu-jitsu practitioner. But I would like to go back at some point and get into it. But yeah, Pedro has some badass black belts underneath of him.
What I always enjoyed about it, it's not brute force and it's not who's the strongest. It's actually a thinker's game. Like, you have to be mindful. And it's so much more entertaining to watch when you actually know what people are doing You know, because people get bored when guys start grappling. Like, you don't understand. If he gets his hand out of there and gets it here, this is going to be a totally different match. And you're waiting for it to happen because you know what it looks like. Everybody else is like,
That's cool, Ryan. You said Pedro and your coach go way back. Yeah, Pedro's retired now. He moved down to South Carolina or something. I think he moved down to Charleston. Yeah, BJJ is definitely chess. I remember one of the biggest things, like being a big guy, a strong guy, you just want to go after people. And if you're a smart jujitsu practitioner, you learn how to manage energy and you just let the big guys wear themselves out. Energy management is so important. Like you just kind of just pick your spots, man. You wait for somebody to make a mistake. And if your gas tank's here and theirs is down here, you're going to win.
Mm.
Yeah. And you can wear their gas tank out faster with your forehead.
Yep. All right. What do we got up next?
Well, this isn't a question. It's just a comment from Tanya that I had to put up. Yohimbine makes me both cold and hot at the same time.
Yeah.
I never thought that was a thing until recently.
We know what Yohimbine does to Amy.
Ooh, makes me cold and hot at the same time, for sure.
I'm out in a sweatshirt in the desert in Las Vegas. It's 109 degrees.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I just thought I had to share that one. So we have one from Gamboni Law. Thoughts on Patrick Mahomes being called fat? His trainer said doesn't equal athleticism. So I'm guessing his trainer said physique doesn't equal athleticism. Does being over 15% body fat hurt more than it helps performance? Does an athlete have an excuse to be over 15%?
Football is you got to be able to take the punishment of playing.
The impact.
The impact. And I think probably the super lean guys are more prone to get hurt. I would imagine.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in a speed or a skill position, I can't imagine being fatter is going to be of a benefit. You got to be able to move. But the guys that are on the line, the guys that are playing running back, the guys that are playing linebacker, I would imagine you probably wouldn't want to be, 8% body fat. That's not going to be beneficial for you. And for him playing quarterback, it's not like he's a running quarterback. You just got to be able to throw the damn ball and survive the hits. Now, I don't know. I've seen Patrick's body. It doesn't look like he puts a lot of effort into the training. I'll say that. That's a guy that probably skips the off-season voluntary training sessions. I'm guessing he's having a few brews and some hamburgers in the off-season. It's funny because his father is lean and athletic. I don't know. I got to pull up Patrick Mahomes' body. It's hilarious, man. He does not look like the best. You wouldn't say that this dude is the best bodybuilder or best at his sport in the entire world. This is. Hang on, let me pull him up. There you go. Does that look like the MVP in the NFL?
Right.
Charlie Taylor Swift into man boobs.
Let me see. Oh man, look at this guy.
So soft.
Yeah, he doesn't even have any muscle either. He's skinny fat.
He needs to have a testosterone checked.
I'm sure he's getting that checked. I doubt they let that go in the NFL.
Well, obviously, I missed one.
I was going to say two things come to mind though with being 15% or more as an athlete though is one. Look at some of the strongmen. Like the bigger they are, they need that size, just like a lineman to move bigger men. They need that inertia. They need that size to be the strength they have. It helps. The bigger they are, helps give them more output to a point. But then again, there's the second thing that popped into my head was, John Meadows used to talk about in off-season scenarios, getting to a weight that you're at your strongest. And that's kind of not to worry about what number that is on your physique. Like if that's 10%, 8%, 12%, there's a number of body fat off-season field, a weight that you need to get to be your strongest in the gym, to be productive and optimal. So yeah, Big Vince.
Josh was saying Vince lost. He's down over 100 pounds. Wow. Yeah, he looks great.
Wow.
I mean, he was 340 or something before. Yeah, dude wasn't going to live if he stayed there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. Ribs. That, you know what's crazy about these guys is like you see them in person, and this just goes to show you they're just genetic mutants. Like you wouldn't think that guy could move. It's crazy. I went over. I mean, I live right next to the commander's training facility, and I went over, and my ex-wife at the time, she bought me a gift. Like it was like a fantasy thing where you could go hang out at the facility all day long. It was like a lottery based thing. And so I got to go over there and hang out while they trained, and seeing those guys up fucking close and how fast they are is just, it's just crazy. Yeah. I've seen that. Vince playing basketball and dunking. Yeah, it was crazy. Trent Williams used to live down the street from me, and he would be out playing basketball all the time. And dude was fat as fucking could dunk. I was like, what? How does that work? How does that work?
Yeah, you don't see it. You don't see it on TV, man. But when these guys hit at those speeds, I mean, there's not too many humans that can hold up to that for very long. And these are elite, super elite athletes.
Yeah, I mean, when you like, people just have no fucking idea. You remember that show? I wish it was still on, Pros versus Joes. That was back on in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
It
was a great show.
I think it was Ray Lewis. I think there was a guy that thought he could take Ray Lewis on going one-on-one, and Ray Lewis just absolutely murdered the dude.
No pun intended.
There's some video. Marshawn Lynch is hilarious too. He has a video up somewhere of him playing with these kids, you know, working at a high school football practice, and he put on shoulder pads and went out there and played with the kids, and just he knocked this one fucking kid out cold, and he was like, "Oh shit, you okay?" And this is after retirement, you know.
Yep.
So the RP guys have been training. This I forget his name right this second, but he's the champion power slap guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's been coming into the Dragon Slayer, and
Oh, that's cool.
Training, and Joe Sullivan and Justin Jay Feather. They've been training this guy. He's a huge dude anyway. But
is it the Hawaiian dude? The Hawaiian dumpling?
No, he's a white guy.
White guy. Okay, yeah. Here's a white dude. I don't know much about the power slapping stuff. Those dudes are crazy, man. Volunteering to get concussed without guarding yourself. That's a crazy sport.
Well, Dana White basically bought the whole deal and is trying to turn it into something.
I mean, it's entertaining.
Yeah. I know Joe Rogan wasn't real happy about it. He's like, he doesn't want anything to do with it.
Well, I mean, Joe Rogan's a traditional MMA guy. I mean, it's kind of goofy, but I would not want to get slapped by one of those dudes.
Yeah, I mean, either.
No, thank you.
I wouldn't stand there.
I don't like getting voluntarily concussed. I like I've already got memory problems. I don't need any help in that department. All right, what other questions we got?
Let's do this one. We kind of covered it. This is from Barn. Do you think young lifters should train heavy moving weights or dial it back like us older guys? I mean, I don't think there's ever a reason to train recklessly, and lifting too heavy is only going to lead to injuries.
Well, it's relative too. Like what's heavy for a beginner lifter is my warm-up weight. Right. I'm not trying to sound ridiculous, but I remember when I got in the gym, like I couldn't bench press 95 pounds when I was 16 years old. Right. And then I remember doing reps with 135 the first time. and then moving up to 185, and then hitting 225, and then 275, then 315, then 365, and then 405. 405 is way more dangerous than pushing yourself to failure and beyond with 185. When you're got the bar loaded up with 405, the risk is really, 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 really high. Josh, just to be fair, you can't bench 90. You're exactly right. 5 pounds, man. That's it. No, but yeah. So I think early on, when look, the shit that you do when you're 21 is not the same shit you would do when you're 45. I mean, I wouldn't want to go out and play a tackle football game in my 40s. That's for sure. My body wouldn't hold up to the rigors of that. I mean, I heard Dante Trudell say this one time, and this made me laugh, but it is funny. It's like when you're 21 and in college, you can drink, do keg stands and jump off the roof of your friend's house into the pool and be fine the next day. You do that at 40, you're probably going to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
So like your tolerance for workload is a lot higher. So I would take advantage of that. I think when you're young is the time. I'm not saying to train idiotic. The one thing I would encourage young guys when it comes to training is get your training dialed in. Dialed in for the sport that you're trying to be good at. I think a lot of guys get confused. Like they train like power lifters, they train like cross lifters when they're trying to be a bodybuilder. If you want to be a bodybuilder, figure out how to train like a bodybuilder, learn how to train like a bodybuilder, find the movements that work for you, and be progressive about advancing the weights. And then you are going to hit a point. And I think this is a point like when guys go from that intermediate to advanced level of bodybuilding, you get to a point where you just can't advance the weights anymore. It gets to be too dangerous. It gets to be impractical. Like I mean, how far are you going to take it? And I think that's when you kind of got to make the shift from being obsessed with a logbook to training with a little more intelligence. So the training for me is much different at the beginner versus the intermediate versus the advanced level. And the age also plays a factor into it. Wear and tear as you get older, and you have to be more thoughtful about what, like Vinny was saying, like you have to train within the limits of what your body will allow. Like I see some old guys, and I'm not trying to slam anybody, but I know a handful of guys that I'm friends with that are old guys that still try to train like they're 25. And they get themselves hurt all the fucking time. They're in the gym 2 weeks going hardcore and bragging about their PR on deadlifts, and then they're in bed with a heating pad on their back for 3 weeks afterwards and can't train. So if you can't be in the gym training and you're hurt all the fucking time, you're not going to make any progress. So that's another thing to consider. But it's all relative. So long story short, when you're younger, yes, I would train more progressively. I would probably find out what your limits are, really test your body out while it's fresh, while it's young, see what you can handle. With that said, within the constraints of training with the intent of hypertrophy, if that is your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Learn to train. Yeah, like Josh said, learn to train hard first before you worry about reps in reserve. I think if you're 21 and you're benching 145 pounds, worrying about reps in reserve and fatigue management and all that stuff shouldn't even be in your fucking mind. Really. That just work hard, grow. And then when you get to a point, there does come a point where that does become a concern later on, but you have to be probably at that advanced intermediate to the advanced bodybuilder stage.
It's a good time to build that base of strength. That's going to exactly like you're saying.
And you'll carry that with you the rest of your life too. Like I got pretty strong in my 20s and early 30s. Thanks, Dalton. If I wanted to move some weight, I could start. I can still do it if I needed to, but there's just no point at this juncture in my journey.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I would start with guys, and I'll put RAR in their program, and then have to explain to them what RAR is, and then then I have to show them, if I see them training in the gym, what failure is, because most of the time they don't know. All right, reps in reserve is like, okay, this is how many I stop before it gets hard. Like, no, until you reach failure. And most guys have never trained hard enough to know what failure really is.
Yeah, and look, the RIR and the RP style stuff has been a lifesaver for me in the last 5 years. It really has been able to help me extend my career, carefully considering what I'm putting my body through, selecting smart exercises that aren't tearing me up, evaluating the cost versus benefit of an exercise, the risk of an exercise, the fatigue of the exercise, all of these things that I have carefully evaluated. But when, like I said, when you're 21 and your bench is 135, your squat's 225, and your deadlift's 225, not that I'm saying we're powerlifters, that's less of a concern. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I would say work hard, test your limits when you're young, and then later on worry about managing all that stuff.
If you haven't pushed yourself so hard that you're worried poop is going to come out, then you don't know what.
I also think, and this is a rant I get on all the time, and it upsets people. I think most people vastly overestimate the risk of actual overtraining. It's really fucking hard to overtrain.
Yeah.
It's really, really fucking hard to overtrain. Now, beating your joints up, because I think this is the thing, like, where guys get confused. They do like this heavy duty, hardcore Mike Mentzer stuff, and then their elbows hurt. They confuse that with overtraining. That's not overtraining. That's stupid training, man. You're fucking your joints up. You're beating your connective tissue up from the 150-pound dumbbells on the skull crusher.
Yeah.
Right. That or the French press, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But that's not overtraining. That's dumb exercise selection.
Yeah.
Right. That's training like an idiot.
Yeah.
So I think people like true overtraining. I really have only truly overtrained once in my life. And I was on contest prep one time, and my central nervous system just stopped firing. I've told the story before. I went in to do leg presses. I put 2 plates on the leg press on each side to warm up. The weight came down and didn't go back up.
Yeah.
And I'll work up to like 8 to 10 plates on each side.
Yeah. In your body. Sorry, go ahead, Paul. Sorry.
My body just gave out. My central nervous system was completely fried. That's overtraining.
Yeah. And your body self-regulated that. Your body wasn't going to let you really push through it. It just said the strength's not there. Enough's enough. Yep. It had its own kind of safety mechanism. And I think if I can add one thing, I think people don't recognize early on the difference between not being fully recovered and being overtrained. Like, not being fully recovered, you just need a little bit more time. But if you don't feel the desire to go in the gym, like you say, your literal output is just pathetic, like not used to what, like when Paul got on the leg press, he didn't even do a quarter of the weight he's capable of. It's your body self-regulating, telling you, like, we're shutting you down. You're overtrained, which is very rare. And once you finally do have that happen, I've never had that happen in the bodybuilding sense, but I did wrestling when I was younger. When I got home after a practice, I literally couldn't even convince myself to get off the couch to go get some food. Like, it was just wild, the shutdown I had.
Probably if you do blood work when you're feeling like that, you probably have rhabdo.
Exactly. But you're going to get
that's overtrained.
You're going to get a clear indication you're overtrained. Don't confuse, like, I'm just not recovered and I'm sore. There's a total difference for sure.
Well, again, I think there's some confusion there, right? There's difference between overtraining, which, a lot of people just don't get to that point where you're training to the point where the systemic fatigue is so high that something else in your body is shutting you down, to where, it just going so hard that you need a chum bucket next to whatever machine you're on. Yeah. That's a different thing, right? It's like, if you want to go to failure, and you keep pushing until you puke, that's different than your body being overtrained and shutting your nervous system down.
Yeah. And it's funny, like Vinny said earlier, I've had guys talk about my training being soft, and I'm like, okay, come train with me one time, because I train with reps in reserve, and then I make them actually slow everything down, really feel everything, and then they're just like, holy fuck, man.
I do it all the time to people.
Do 15 of these with an 8-second count on the way down, and then you tell me how easy it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, being overtrained is rare, and it's usually multifaceted. It's not just driven through too much training. It's undernourished, it's under recovered, it's overtrained. It's a couple different things in my mind.
I mean, I trained 6 days a week for a year straight as a master's bodybuilder, and I wasn't overtrained. All right, what do we got next? We'll get one or two more in, and then I got to go to Costco.
Well, we got diet questions. We got drug questions. What do you guys want?
Oh, we'll do one of each.
Okay. Let's do the diet question first. This is a two-parter from Suck Smoothie. How slow are you guys reversing out of your diet? Went into a cruise after finishing up my cut and getting diced. 2 weeks into reverse, I'm up 1,100 calories from baseline, but only gained a pound. Still feeling the effects of diet, lousy training, low libido, fatigue, and modest hunger. Modest because he's taking cagrilintide. Should I be working at my calories faster?
I hate fucking reverse diets. I think they're stupid.
Just get back to maintenance?
Yeah, I just go right back to my off-season diet. This is one I got from Justin. I wish Justin was the one to talk about it. Justin and I talked about it. He's like, I just don't know why people still continue to reverse out. There are some people that you have to do it because they get rapid water retention post-show. But generally, the guys that I see that get the massive water retention, they're cheating on their fucking diets. What I found is post-diet, post-cut, your body needs, you're so depleted. You're glycogen depleted, you're fatigued, you need to get yourself out of that hole. And I think people really screw that part up. They think I need to get off all the drugs, I need to slowly reverse the diet out, and then they have this huge hormonal crash. They don't taper off the fat burners, they pull the fat burners cold turkey. They go down to TRT and they have a huge estrogen rebound, and then they slowly reverse the diet, and then ultimately Graylin wins. You're going to cave and you're going to cheat. I mean, even the most disciplined, I'm pretty disciplined when I'm on prep. And when I've tried to restrict myself coming out of prep, then I end up going ape shit and eating a whole fucking pizza and a box of cookies. It's like a demon possesses me and takes me over.
A Costco box, make that clear.
Yeah, Costco box, yes, like 15,000 calories in one sitting. No, but what I do when I have guys come out of contest prep, I'll tell them, look, you got 36 hours, go get it out of your fucking system. And then Monday morning, we're back on plan. And usually what I'll do is have guys run 3 high days with clean food. Keep no cheat meal, keep the food clean, keep it low fat, keep it high carbohydrate. And usually after you do that for 3 days, they fill back out, training improves, and it also quells a lot of those stupid fucking cravings you get when you're filled up on food. You can eat candy on those high days. You can eat gummy bears and shit like that. And then we just go straight back into the regular off-season diet. If you're only up like 1 pound 2 or 3 weeks post-diet, you're not going to feel good. You're essentially still in contest prep at that point.
Yeah. I felt bad after when we did our coach check-in the other day. I was so excited to tell everybody about my plans after the show that I didn't let you get through that part of it.
Oh no, you're all right, man.
And I will be doing the reload after the show, but looking forward to having some time off of scheduled dieting too.
Now I will say that there is a caveat to this, and I usually have people check in at that third high day, and I'll see how the water retention is. If I have a guy that's up 20 pounds in 3 days, and that does happen sometimes, we got to be careful. You know, at that point, I don't have that's not going to be healthy for you. But if they're handling the food well, usually it's just guys go apeshit eating high sodium food is what I see, and then they have water, like you're hitting McDonald's and Denny's and eating a bunch of donuts and pizza and all this, trash food that's just going to make you hold a bunch of fucking water, and then your aldosterone is going to be all out of whack from water depletion or using diuretics or whatever. Yeah. And you have this big fucking water rebound, and then they drop all the drugs too on top of it. So you gotta that is one thing that the thing you should be reversing out of is your contest prep protocol. That's the part you should be reversing out of. Go hard with the diet. And if you catch the diet right, you can have the best gains of your life in that 6 to 8 week period post-show.
Yeah, and a lot of those symptoms he's talking about, low libido, low energy, poor training, after a couple of weeks, you'd hope you'd be out of the hole with that. So, usually I don't have a problem. I'm not telling you to take it easy on your training or take it, train like a baby, but it's okay to kind of slowly reverse yourself in the sense of like bringing back good recovery, getting your sleep in line. Those things are definitely order of operations you need to start pecking through. Like if you're still sleeping like you're a week out, 2 weeks post-show, you got to address that. So if the training needs to just kind of be not put to the side, but kind of on the easier sense, getting some pump workouts in the first week, get your food to a place you can recover, focus on your sleep, then you're going to set yourself up for success. Because if you're 6 weeks after a show and you don't feel so well, you're not going to be having a good off season. You're starting off on the wrong foot.
I did a big dose of Anadrol after the E-Cup and it got my libido back up and fixed the problems I was having with the I forget what Paul called it now, where I was getting the crazy high fasted blood glucose.
Yeah, it's just the dawn effect or Samogi effect. Yeah.
Got a super chat from Jens. Thank you, Jens.
Thank you, Jens. All right, we want to get the drug question.
All right, drug question is also a two-parter. We had long questions today. I love it, guys. So this is from Dalton. Just finished a mock prep, about to start first legit enhanced growth phase. Ran up to 500 milligrams of test during prep. Plan is 2 IUs of growth, 400 test, 100 MPP while EQ kicks in. What would you guys run EQ at? He did add that he has blood work is good. He's tolerated the 500 well.
I usually just do it 50, 50, 50, 400 tests, 200 EQ, 100 MPP is what I would do. Start there and see how you respond. And then you can adjust from there. See how you handle the side effects. MPP is a spin the dial with side effects though sometimes. There's been times I've tolerated it just fine. There's been times where I'm an anxious mess and also end up with erectile dysfunction, and that doesn't help anxiety. I mean, there's a bunch of water retention, gyno. It may do well for you. I do love MPP or nandrolone for size. I know Kurt's talked about it before, where DECA actually has a higher peak than MPP. I know people report that MPP has lower side effects. Maybe it has something to do with it. It doesn't peak as hard as DECA does. Mm-hmm. DECA on paper is probably the more effective one, but I still kind of, it's just an anecdote. I don't have any fucking science to go on here. I'm not a biochemist. I find that I tolerate MPP better than I do DECA as far as side effects go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd personally get rid of the NPP. That's just me, and get the EQ up to like 300 and just see how you feel. Give it some time, because it takes time for those to get to like full peak blood serum concentration. And if you've only done testosterone and now you're moving into 3 compounds or 4, I'd almost get rid of the MPP so you can kind of just see what everything's doing to you. You have less variables in play. You can kind of identify things and start slow and give it time.
Add one at a time so you can identify what's giving you the side effect. Because I know both of those drugs also shoot my blood pressure through the roof. So
what's water retention?
Yeah,
it's water retention. Well, it's the crazy combination, because the MPP is going to increase estradiol and also cause additional water retention, and the EQ is going to raise your hemoglobin and hematocrit. So you got the combination of both. You're going to have increased blood volume. And that's ultimately what's causing the high blood pressure. But yeah, EQ is both of, but some people don't get that. It's wild to me seeing, like, working with hundreds of different clients, the guys that are hypertensive, you have to be super careful with everything. I tend to be hypertensive. But there's some dudes that can run a gram of tren and they're like 100/50. I hate those guys.
Yeah, well, he was pretty young too, so he could probably tolerate those things a little better than some of us older guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what do the old bodybuilders say? If your blood pressure isn't 150 over 100, you're not trying.
Yeah.
You think I'm joking about that?
No.
Oh no, I believe you.
You go back to the old message boards. It was test, EQ, DECA, D-ball or Anadrol. Those were the cycles back in the early 2000s. Talk about high blood pressure.
Well, I love the example that Justin used the other day with the kidneys. He's like, just think of shooting a coffee filter with a fire hose.
Yeah, the nephron are very fragile.
Well, to just quickly give them that one last thing on, if you have NPP and you have growth hormones, your first time putting these into your protocol, you got two things, like Mike says, that are going to drive blood pressure up. I'd almost rather just have one, assess it, see how I react. And if you feel like adding the next one, then so be it. But, say you did 500 tests, 300 EQ, and a couple of units of growth hormone, you could really, on a rebound scenario, do quite well. Let your body kind of level out, make your gains, let the food do the magic as well, and get a lot out of a little. Like, these are the opportunities where you can actually get quite a bit out of relatively under a gram of gear.
And I grow more on EQ, so start there.
Yeah. Test in EQ, and if you get in a situation where EQ smashes your estrogen, you could always keep some D-ball on hand. I used to shit all over D-ball because it just upsets guys, but there is an application for it here and there.
Sure.
It's I very occasionally will use it with guys when they get low estrogen. It's a quick fix for low estrogen.
Mm-hmm. Pull you out of that hole.
Yeah, it'll pull you out of that hole and make you feel better.
For sure.
All right, maybe one more. We got anything that's worth taking?
Well, Jens actually did have a question. He's the one that did the super chat. He asked if HGH will make your dick grow, which Joshua pointed out that actually Steve has a great video about this, and no, HGH will not. So Steve did do a video about other things that might.
Are you telling me there's no hope for it?
Well, not with HGH.
To make your dick grow, and HGH can contribute to this, is lose weight.
Yeah.
Too.
Leaner guys have bigger dicks. Facts.
It's all an illusion game.
Yeah.
Shrink your balls up, take enough tests, and it looks bigger.
I wish I had pictures of me as a fat guy. It's a lean guy now.
Shave all that ball hair off.
It's all illusions. Yes, the optical illusions.
All illusions.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe with the high dose androgens and high dose GH, anything's possible.
I was not expecting 1 inch of usable depth, and that's absolutely what I got. So, lose weight. Hey, I know how. Hit me up.
There you go. There's hope, Jens. Follow Mike on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, Amy would know this from being in plastic surgery. There are procedures.
There are, but a risk reward on a lot of those things is questionable. I think a lot of them are anecdotal and trying to sell magic beans, because people will do a lot of things for the hope.
Isn't there the thing where they cut the tendon that supposedly makes it longer?
Again, that's a risk. There's other risks that are involved in that. Is that really worth the potential reward? I don't know.
Yeah, I know one thing. I don't want anybody cutting on my eggplant.
Well, I will say
injecting things.
I did have a PRP treatment one time.
The P shot?
Yeah, it was not for size. It was not my intention, and I won't get into why. But that was an unexpected benefit of it. It didn't work for what I wanted it to work for, but I'm like, hey, that thing has gotten thicker. And it stayed that way for about, 6 months or so. So I guess it's something you have to do periodically. But
yeah, the injection itself, as we all know, injections will make things swell initially.
Yeah.
And the PRP, they do. The P shot, same thing with the G shot for women that they do. These things, they do help. They can add volume. They can increase some blood flow. But like you said, Mike, it's a temporary effect in most cases. And then, is the risk of having multiple rounds of injections into your penis really worth it? The risk of infection, the risk of other things happening. It's always balance. for either a temporary payoff
and there was nothing pleasant about the procedure at all, and I did not get any sensitivity back, which is what I went for to begin with. So.
Yeah.
Josh, let's just get a Prince Albert. That's the solution.
Yeah. I got some rubbing alcohol and a sharp needle. Josh, come on over.
Is that a 18 gauge?
Yeah, at least.
Oh man! All right, guys. I think this is a good place to stop. Josh is bringing us home.
Keeping it classy.
I was supposed to say, Daryl, Charles, and Tanner, I did have your questions saved, so please ask them next time, because Daryl, I think your questions were really good. So
what was Daryl's question?
It's about Reta. It may be a really quick one.
Yeah, we can do that. Come on.
It's also a two-parter. So he's been on Reta for 8 weeks, started at 2 milligrams up to 4, isn't having the effect anymore. He's training hard. I wanted to know if he should increase the Reta and drop calories. I have thoughts on this, but I'll let you guys go first.
I would be very cautious about increasing the Reta. I know a couple people that work in ERs, and there's been a lot of people showing up at the emergency room with blockages from gastric emptying being stopped. And I'm just on 1 milligram, and I certainly have noticed that my gastric emptying has slowed pretty dramatically. It takes a few months for it. It seems like it takes a few months for that to catch up with you. I would just battle through the hunger. I wouldn't push it any higher than that. That's just my 2 cents. I mean, I've heard of guys running north of that. It seems like there's a curve where if you push it too high, it also seems to negatively affect you. I've seen some malabsorption issues. I had a guy come to me that was, I don't want to rat him out, but I'll just say this. I had a guy come to me for help. He was running a really high dose, like up towards the upper limit of what they did on the clinical trials. And he had all sorts of vitamin deficiencies, B12, vitamin D. He was, all his entire blood panel was just complete. All of the minerals, everything, like his body just wasn't absorbing anything. It's almost like what you would see in a gastric bypass surgery.
Yeah, they definitely deplete B vitamins.
There are uglier side effects than gastric emptying too that he might suffer if he ups the dose too much. But and I did the same thing. I upped my dose, hoping to get a little more appetite suppression, and it slowed my gastric emptying. And I felt it come on quick and backed off it quick, and still went back to my same old dose that I've been doing. So.
Yeah, and they're not 100% sure. I've heard some speculation about this, that some of the gastric emptying issues might be permanent.
Yes, gastroparesis can become a lifelong issue.
I think it's more common on like semaglutide, like heavier.
Yeah, Reta seems to be pretty mild when it comes to that. But yeah, I would, Daryl, I would just keep fighting. There's other things. Eat pickles.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of water, sugar-free sodas. I mean, if you're struggling with the hunger, I probably wouldn't push any more than that. Yeah. And keep in mind, this is a drug that's still in phase 3 clinical trials. Like, we don't know what the long-term effects of it are. Yeah. I would be very cautious with pushing the doses too high.
Yeah, and you got to think, if you're going to increase the dose of Reta, in theory, you're going to be lowering calories anyways, because you're going to not want to eat. So you might as well try the simple route without extra drug intervention and see how that does. And, Chase makes a good point of matching your dose. Don't worry about what other people are taking, but match your dose to the needed effect. So lower the calories that you need, get the results you're looking for. And if you really, truly have to get some more appetite suppression, maybe you can increase the dose, but I'd try the other route first, because that seems a lot easier and very quick and direct.
Gastric emptying can be a real problem towards the end of prep too. People get constipated.
Oh yeah.
Bad. When they get towards the end, they have a hard time going to the bathroom. I wouldn't want to do anything that's going to potentially make that worse.
Well, when prep's over and it's time to start that progress season, and you're going to want to crush a bunch of food, and your gastric emptying isn't cooperating, like. You
Yeah.
know, I already have hard times on high days as it is. So.
Yeah. Do you know anything that helps that, Amy? Like that would speed that back up, get that reverse going?
Yeah, they're prokinetic agents that, natural prokinetic agents that are definitely helpful. I mean, things like ginger, Jerusalem artichoke, like other things that kind of can help move things through. I would definitely recommend. And also, give it like a slowly building up the volume of food is always going to help too, because your body kind of gets used to digesting what you're giving it. So that's why at the end of prep, like it knows there isn't a lot coming. So it's not really working very hard to get stuff through.
Yeah.
But also keeping meal timing a little bit more concise helps a lot. And I think that's where, like, especially if people are trying to eat a lot of food, they might end up being like, it almost becomes like endless meal, where there's very little time in between. So you need a couple of hours for these prokinetic waves to really move through your intestines to really get food moving. And for some people who are very sensitive to this, even like a little bite of food can stop that. And then if you have your next meal an hour later and like it just, you never give your body a chance to actually start doing this process of peristalsis to get stuff moving because you're just kind of constantly feeding. That can actually be something that really helps too, even though it might be hard to get a larger bolus of food in, giving yourself still the same amount of time you had between meals that you had in prep to make sure that you're kind of working with your body's natural rhythm and getting that migrating motor complex moving appropriately in between meals is really helpful.
I did notice
kinetics.
I did notice that the gastric emptying is much worse on tirzepatide than it is on Reta. Being on tirzepatide, so yeah, it's definitely more potent appetite suppressant in lowering gastric emptying. I will say that.
A large bolus of saturated fat might help.
Drink some.
Always does it for me.
Drink some olive oil. You'll poop.
Yeah. Lube it up.
All right, folks. Costco's calling my name.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Appreciate each and every one of you. Even the guys that leave mean comments. I love you too. You probably need a hug more than anybody else does.